He got about 3 parts of a length in front, just in round near the 200-metre mark, but the Testimony just finished too strongly down the outside and has got up to score, I suppose, by about a neck. Third placing to Cookie, which came from well back. It was a nice run by the filly. And the fourth in the race was Brave Salute, and fifth Martek. Now, the last race in the program today, the Baronia Handicap, you can scratch number 7, Queen Delamere, and number 18, We Flip. So we have one race to go on the program here at Sandown today. And Niliska, I think, might have pulled up a little bit short. It's coming back to scale very quickly. But the winner, too good on the day, Testimony. He's a pretty good galloper, and he was produced a very fit horse first up by Colin Little at Caulfield, and was admirably ridden by Len Maund. Officially, $3.05 the win, $1.15 a place. Miner's Man, 80, and Cookie, $1.75. The Quinella, $8 even. The Daily Double, 8 and 6, has paid $8.75. $8.75 for the Daily Double, and we're standing by for the trifecta and the quadrilla in the event. Well, it's quite unusual to see apprentice jockeys getting many rides in races in which they can't claim, but such was the case with Len Maund. He got the ride on Testimony, and earlier we saw Michael Barlow, I think it was, winning the first race in the program, a race which had no claims. He won it on base fee. But such is the strength and ability of our apprentices that, well, I don't suppose it is that surprising. Pat Lawler, the chief steward, waiting. Bratton, who is now a fully fledged jockey, no more apprentice allowances, steps off the scales from Cookie. Michael Clark. Yes, you can't weigh out yet, old boys. It's Martek's rider. Okay, there's Brave Salute. Michael Clark and Stephen Burridge will now step onto the scales on the fifth horse, Martek. 1:11.6 was the time for that event, incidentally. 1:11.6.
Difference in sizes. Len's a little fella, and Testimony's a very big youngster, Len, isn't he?
That's right, Mr. Hillier, he is.
He looked, in fact, someone mentioned before the race, I wouldn't dob Roy Higgins in, of course, that he looked a little fat. He looked as though he needed the run. Was that the stable thinking?
No, well, the stable said that he was fairly fit and ready for this race.
He's a massive big horse, and yet you were able to sort of weave him through the field there. You've only had the 2 rides on him now for 2 wins, so obviously you've got a liking for him.
Yes, that's right. I do like the horse. He's a very big horse, and he was travelling that well coming into the straight. He was getting on the other horse's heels, and I was just a bit worried that he might get unbalanced being such a big horse, but he went through it well. What
stage was he getting on the heels of horses, Len?
Just on the point of the turn.
Well, we might try and pick up the replay from in the straight. In fact, we'll have a look at the whole race. Now, Testimony was number 6. He drew in barrier 2, and you were able to get him up just off the pace in the early stages.
That's right. Mr. Little said that he might race a bit keen, but once he got in behind the other horses, he settled down really nice.
At times, this horse, when ridden by Darren Gauci, has always been up either leading or running second. He is a big bowl going fella, but I've noticed the 2 rides you've had on him, including today, he's settled back very nicely for you.
Well, that's where Mr. Little usually wants him to be, and he seems to like racing.
We're just coming to the point now, Len, excuse me, where you run into trouble. You between that big wide blaze, you really did go up on the heels there.
Yes, he was travelling extra well. The ones in front did slow down a bit, which didn't help him much.
Well, you needed a split, Len, and shortly after this it comes for you.
That's right. I sort of had to force my way out a little bit, but once he got out, he zipped away, and they had to catch him.
Well, if you're needing to force a run when you've got a horse of that size, you don't really have much trouble, do you? Because he's a big, cumbersome horse.
That's right.
Would he be the biggest horse you've ever rode?
Yeah, he'd be close to it, yes.
You're not going to be very popular back at Ballarat, because that's a Ballarat-trained horse and a Ballarat-ridden horse, Miner's Man, that you touched off in near the post.
Well, that's right. Miner's Man was ridden...
Sorry, we're coming into the home turn again here, where we see you're up on the heels of the horses in front. It's a bit of an airy experience, that, isn't it? You never know when you're going to clip or you're not going to clip. At this point is where you've got to angle out. You're trying to come out looking for a run, and now you've had to turn him out to come out into the opening.
Well, I wasn't going to be able to get a run, but the horse outside of me dropped back a bit, so I was right there.
That's Miner's Man slipping through on the rails to take the lead. Testimony 4 out from the fence in the red cap, red sleeves. Len Maund winding up now with the whip, coming at Miner's Man very strongly.
Very strong towards the end of this race. For a first-up run, Len, he was obviously more forward in condition than he looked in the mounting yard.
Yes, he was.
He ran in a barrier trial recently at Werribee. Did you ride him?
No, I was riding in barrier trials at Ballarat that day.
I can remember, and I don't think I've ever seen a bigger, broader grin on a young fellow's face the day you won your first race. It was at this track. How long are we going back there now, Len?
That'd be a year and a half, I'd say.
Now, in that span of time, how many winners have you ridden? Do you have a breakdown? How many in town and how many in total?
I've ridden about 33 in town and probably about 50 in the country.
What a difference a year and a half makes, Roy.
And obviously your best win of your very short but very successful career so far has actually been at this track.
That's right, the Sandown Cup I won here, and that was a great thrill that day.
Well, you may have another winner coming up in the last. You're on a roughie there, Len. We'll let you go and prepare for it. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Mr. Hillier.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, back to you, Bill Collins.